for watching The Christian View, and for those of you listening on radio, thank you for tuning in today. We're talking about a country divided, and we're going to talk in this segment about politics and the different ways that it does divide us as a country, because everybody has their own opinions on gun rights, abortion, climate change, whether or not we should be involved in wars. And you got to admit, Cameron, all the negative ads and the news media, that doesn't help either.
No, it doesn't. And right now, we see the trend getting worse and worse as we go on. And what happens when you take a look at politics, you're dealing with the governing of policies. That's really what this is. And when you have policies that at the onset were upon Christian principles, but now as we go on, you find that everybody wants to walk away from. And now, who is governing these Christian principles? It happens to be secular people. So automatically, since they are divided from the policies, they're trying to divide the people, because now things have to change their way. And that's what we see. And we even see right now that saints are either, Republican first, or Democrat first, as opposed to kingdom Christian first. And that's part of our issue. We have to get back to the point where when Christ says, come and follow me, he actually meant, come and be part of my party, and it was a kingdom party. But we now have like two opposing parties, but the reality is that the third is the kingdom, and we're supposed to be the one that invades everything else.
Yeah. We're the first, not
We're the first.
I'll be the one that stands in the end. That's the one.
And from Jesus's perspective, the only purpose of politics or the government was to thwart evil. It wasn't to change hearts. It wasn't to make righteousness. It was just to keep evil from flourishing. So it's really the Christians that should be the ones setting forth, as you say, the policies and making the laws.
We need more Christians running for office, Trudy.
Well, we're told it's when the righteous rule that the people rejoice. And so it's obvious that God wants the righteous to rule. And so even in our policies, in the perspective of church, we have to begin to prepare people for public policies, for public office. And so that's part of what the church should be doing.
Instead of saying it's their problem, why doesn't somebody do something about this problem? It's us. But it also comes down to selfishness. People, there's a greater diversity in non-believers, atheism, different religions, and people just want their values to be heard. And I think sometimes people just like to hear their own voice. They don't even know what they're complaining about or dividing our country over. They're just taking a stand and going with it.
Committed to their own point of view without opening their mind to think that there could be another way.
I think just the whole setup of the country itself tends itself to divide based on politics. When you say you have a bipartisan type government that says that, okay, we got this side on one side, this side against that side. But I think the overall prevalent thing that we saw happening in America, especially within our last election, we saw that our politics, our political system was really being divided by something that is at the core of what divides our country, and that's racism. And people really began to pull out at race. And when we really get to the core of it, we say, one thing, that we love each other and we do different things. Well, we really begin to see that how racism really comes out. And in the end, if we really would tell the truth and we would educate people on the ignorance of racism, there's only one race.
That's
and that's the
right.
human race. There are no different races.
There are no different races. But you gain that back by having a changed heart. And the only way to have a changed heart is to be committed to the Christ. And so we as a country have to go back to our roots and understand that we can't take care of any of these issues, and we'll always be divided if we don't come back to the unifier, which is Christ himself.
And that's why I said during this last election, it was really an identity crisis. It had nothing to do with the politics. People were trying to figure out which box they fit into.
Right.
But we already know the box. We have our identity in Christ, and our country does too, and we need to stand on that.
Lance Wallnau wrote a book called God's Chaos Candidate. And he was talking about Donald Trump being a Cyrus, like from Isaiah 45. And he called him a wrecking ball to the political system, to the national debt issue. And sometimes, he may not be a self-proclaimed Christian or a Christian. He's not a pastor. We want a pastor as a church in the United States, but that may not be what we want, but that's what we...
Cameron or Lee runs for office.
And that would be nice.
Been called out.
That would be nice. But the thing is that that God is using Donald Trump.
Yes, he
He
is.
works
He
all
is
things
using
for
him.
the good of us, and
He
he's
did.
using him to uncover some things
Yes, he
that
is.
need to be uncovered,
Yes.
to
I
expose
think
some
a
things
reflection
that
in the
need to be.
mirror, more than even the politics. I think it's a reflection in the mirror. I think Donald Trump is very representative of who America is.
Yeah.
That bullying, that my way first, the business, all about wealth, all about building up for my family.
Yeah, whether
and I think
you
we're-
agree with him or not.
Right. It has nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging him as a person either. You know,
Right.
we all could get caught up that no matter what your
Yes.
life looks like, but especially with the opportunities he's had afforded to him and the environments he's been in. But the point of that is I believe that God is using that exact thing to show the transformation of his heart in front of the media and for America to also see that. I feel like he's had a transformation in the last 6 months. I've seen a lot of
He
him
has, he's
actually
been out there
asking
among the people for the
forgiveness.
first time in his life.
Yes.
He's been with the real people.
Yes.
And
And
it started
I
a
think it's
dialogue
very important
among
he's there.
American people
Yeah, it did.
about racism,
did.
about it's confronted some things that we have
Well, it
needed
really
to talk
brought-
about.
It really brought to light too where the core of our country sits, and that's almost in the position of the haves and the have-nots. We a lot of times we talk about race, we talk about Democrats versus Republicans, but we saw in this election really gets down to who has the most money, who has the most power, and that has been one of the overall things that we've been seeing going on in this country, and it really just came to light a lot in this past election.
Yeah.
Both candidates, both persons that were out there, both of them had baggage, both of them had things that
Right. Both of
were
them had
not,
money.
yeah, for the eyes of any person,
Yeah.
your lens, if you were looking at it from a Christian lens, both of them had glaring things that
Oh,
stood
yes.
out
Oh,
that
yeah.
would
We're all
say,
sinners. We all have
And the
something we
thing,
bring
the
to the
thing
table.
that came out of that, I think that is so important for the church is that we cannot afford to have a Republican church and a Democrat
No, we
church.
can't.
We cannot
We
afford to
can't.
have a black church and a
No.
white church or an Asian church.
Growing up, we were Democrats. Then we became Republicans. At this point in my life, I am total independent. I can't go either. I have got to look at which one is standing closest to what the Word says on every issue. Anyway, we're coming right back. Stay with us. That's the bottom line. I've got to go with which one is on the issues.
Yeah.